Okay, so welcome back to part two of my encryption demonstrations. So we just finished the drive level encryption, and here we were going to continue with the data level encryption for encrypting files and folders to protect from unauthorized access. Let me bring up my VMware station here. I'm going to go ahead and just unpause this. Okay, so before I started this demo, I did reset my virtual machine to the base snapshot to start with a fresh machine. But we are going to go ahead and get started here. So to start, I'm just going to go to my run, and I will bring up my command prompt here. And I'm going to start with just typing in, who am I? And this shows us the name of the user who is currently signed on this machine. So for me, it is client 10A Tomas. So for this lab, we will be using a separate partition the same way we did in the previous video when we created our BitLocker drive. So for that, I'm going to go back to run again, and we're going to bring up our disk management console. And let me expand this screen here. And so just like in the previous video here, we're going to perform the shrink/create volume step for 3 gigabytes of space. So I'm going to be right-clicking my disk, my C drive here. We're going to shrink volume. And for this amount of space that we're going to do, rather than the 1 gig that we did last video, I'm just going to go ahead and go with 3 gigs for this one. That'll be 3072 MB. We'll shrink. And then it's going to create that unallocated drive. There we go. And so now we'll right click again. We're going to go to new simple volume. Brings up the wizard. For here, we're just going to skip through all this here. Next. We're good with the volume name and finish. And so now we have our new volume E drive. So we'll go ahead and close this console. And I'll go ahead and close this down for now. So now we're going to go ahead and create some new users for this lab. So I'm going to go back to my run here. We'll go into our computer management. In here, we'll go to our local users and groups, users. And here we're going to go ahead and make 2 users. So I will just right click new user. First one will be Mickey. Same thing. I'm just going to go with some simple passwords here and no password change at next login. And then we'll make Minnie. And close. So now you can see we have our 2 new users here, Mickey and Minnie. And so now that these are created, we're going to log in with Mickey's account first. So let me just close this down. I'm going to sign out. And then we'll log in. And so I'm going to go ahead and just pause the video here just because with these being new user profiles, it does take the system a little bit of time to build the profiles. So as soon as I'm logged in with Mickey, I will resume the video. Okay, so now that we're logged in, we will have Mickey as our user who wants to create a folder and encrypt a file. So we are going to open our File Explorer here. Go to our this PC and go to the new volume E drive that we created. And in here, we are going to create a new folder. I'm just going to title this as Mickey's Docs. We'll go into there and we are going to create a new text document. And for this one, we'll just title it as private file. Open that up. And we'll just add some data here. I'm just going to close and save. That's there. And now we'll go ahead and move forward with the encryption process. So for this portion here, I'm going to right click. We're going to scroll down to properties. And in our properties here, we're going to select advanced. Now it brings up this advanced attributes window here. And at the very bottom, you can see encrypt contents to secure data. So we're going to select that there and then press OK. And we will hit apply. And then encryption warning here. So this asks you, what do you want to do? So it's going to give you two options. You either encrypt the file and its parent folder, or you can encrypt just the file. For our demonstration here, we're going to encrypt the file only, just to say like we want to keep our encryption below the radar, so to speak, rather than encrypting the entire folder. So I'm going to hit OK. And then we will hit OK again. We have this little pop-up here, says back up your file encryption certificate and key. And at this portion, we are going to go ahead and back up now. So I will select that. Brings up this certificate export wizard. And so this is going to back up the certificate and key to our removable media. So let me select next here. As far as the selection here, we have this personal information exchange or .pfx. We're good with that. I'm going to go ahead and hit next. Next portion here, it asks you for basically setting a password for this. So again, this is going to be a minimum of a 7-character complex password. Let me just select password and we'll type that in. And then as far as the encryption types, this shows us this triple dash SHA-1. I am good with that one. We'll hit next. And for file name, it's essentially going to ask you to set the file name and the location for where you're going to save it. For this one, I'm just going to go to Browse. We're going to go to Documents. And here we're going to go ahead and create a new folder. And for that folder name, I'm just going to save it as my EFS cert. Go into there. And then for the file name for this, I'm going to save this as my EFS. And there we go. We'll hit next. and finish. Export was successful. Okay. Now I'm going to close. Well, that's closed. We're going to right click in Mickey's doc or since we're already here, we're just going to create a new text document just right next to his private file here. So we'll right click. And this one we'll just title it as my file. Go into there. And we'll just add some more data here. Close and save. And so now we have our two files here. So now if you look closely under our private file here, you can see this little lock symbol on our encrypted file. Now, as I had discussed in my previous discussion videos on encryption, the creator or owner who owns the drives or files is authorized to open the file at any time. Other users are not. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and log off, and then we're going to sign in with Mini. So while I do that, I'm just going to pause the video here, and then we'll resume while we're in Mini's account. Okay, so now that we're logged in with Mini, we're going to go ahead and check our File Explorer, go to our new drive, and see if we can open Mickey's docs. Bring up File Explorer here, go to this PC, new volume E, we have our Mickey's docs. Try the first one, my file, and it opens up like no problem. I'm joking, and we'll try private file here. And this is saying we do not have permission to open this file. See the owner of the file or an administrator to obtain permission. Okay. So we have successfully have that encrypted file there for Mickey inside of Mickey's docs. So how can we get access to open this file? So really only anyone who has the certificate that we created with Mickey when encrypting this file can get access. Otherwise, no one can get access. So at this point, let's go ahead and say that Mini decides, well, Mickey encrypted his file, so now I want to encrypt the file for my own privacy. So here in Mini's profile, we're right here in our new volume E drive. We're going to go ahead and just create a new folder for her. And this one will just simply name as Mini's docs. We'll go into her folder now. And we are going to create two new files for her, kind of same way we did with Mickey. Text document, we'll call this file 1. Take my other one right away. It'll be file 2. Let me go into my file 1 first. I'm just going to add some data. There we go. We're going to close and save. Then we'll go into our file 2. Here. Close and save. And so here we're essentially going to do the same process as we did earlier with Mickey. We're going to go to our file 2. We will right click, go to our properties, hit our advanced settings button here, encrypt contents and secure data. Okay, going to apply. We're going to same thing, just encrypt the file only. Okay. and okay. Click our little pop-up here. We're backing up. We're going to go ahead and back up now. Brings up our export wizard. Next, we're good with the PFX. We're going to set another password for this one here. Next, browse our file name. And we're going to go to our documents. And for my file name, I'm just going to save this as my keys, and I'll just save it in our documents. Here, I'm not going to create a new folder for it or anything like that. Go to next, finish, export was successful. Okay. And we can see same thing with our little symbol here. Our file to folder is now encrypted. So now Minnie's saved this file and she believes that it's secure now. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and log off and we're going to log back in with our administrator to just verify if that is indeed the case. When we close this, we will log off. Moment here. Things running a little slow today. Sign out. Okay, so now I'm logged back in with my admin user here again. So now we're going to go to that new drive and look up Mickey's and Minnie's docs and see if we can open those files from our admin account. So I will go to this PC. Drive here. I try Mickey's docs. My file opens. I can see that there. Try private file. Says I don't have permission. And we'll just double check with Minnie's as well. File 1. Can see that there. File 2. Same thing. No permission. Okay. So here we can see that even our administrator account does not have the rights either. So by default, admin doesn't have the rights, but now we can go ahead and demonstrate DRA, which is our data recovery agent, which I discussed in my previous encryption video as well, where our admin can get access to an encrypted file. So we're going to go ahead and make this admin profile a DRA, and we're going to use the command prompt to generate the DRA certificate. So let me go to run here. CMD. One more time, I'm just gonna enter who am I just to verify that we are on the correct account here. Client 10E Tomas, that looks good. And so for this portion here, first we have to change the location of the file. So I'm going to type in dir for our directories. So this shows me the directories of the user profile. So from here, we want to go into my documents. So for that, I'm going to enter cd documents. And this now puts us into the documents directory. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and enter again our dir directory here. And this is essentially just showing us inside our directory file what we can see or what folders we have. So here we are going to create another folder. I'm going to type in MD recovery. Enter. This is going to create a folder by the name of recovery. Just to verify that, I'm going to type in dir again. And now you can see our recovery folder that's been created. So we want to go into the recovery folder. So I will type in cd recovery. And let me just clear the rest of my screen here. So we're back up at the top again. So now we're going to type in our next command for the DRA. So for that, we will enter in cipher space /r colon DRA. And I will hit enter. Now at this point, it's asking us to type in a password to protect our PFX file. So keep in mind that with this password, it remains hidden when so you won't see it as it's being entered. Just be careful to type it in correctly. You're going to have to enter it twice. So for that, I'm going to go with enter that password. Now it's going to ask you to retype it. Enter. And then you can see that our certificate file and our PFX file were both created successfully. Now at this point, I'm going to go ahead and hit exit to close. So now we've successfully generated the files. So we're going to go back to our file explorers and open our documents to see the folders by the name of recovery. So let me go back to here. Documents. We have our recovery folder. And here we can see our two DRAs, our security certificate, and then our personal information exchange. So the .cer and .pfx. Same files we just created in our command prompt. So I'm going to double click on my certificate first. And all we have to do here is essentially just install the certificate. So we will select install this whole export wizard. We're essentially just kind of going through all these default settings here. Next, next, finish. Import was successful. Okay. We'll select OK. And now we'll go to our PFX, do the same thing here. Next. It's going to ask for the password. So this is that password that we just created. We'll just enter that here. Select next, next, and finish. And it'll give us a little prompt here. Shows that the import was successful. We select OK. So now we're going to go ahead and check these files again. So let me go back to this PC. We'll go to our new volume, Mickey's docs. And let's see if we have access. I'll go to my private file. And this is saying no permissions to open the file. Let me check minis. And same thing here. It's telling us that we do not have permission to open this file. So we don't have access to these files because they were encrypted before our administrator became the DRA. At this point, the administrator can only get access to these files via two methods. Either Minnie or Mickey goes into their encrypted files that they have access to, and they make changes that they then save, which would update the timestamp. Thus, that would give our admin access to them at a later point because the timestamp changed. Or the other option would be Mickey or Minnie shares their keys that they saved with the administrator to give them access. So I'm not going to necessarily demonstrate that at this point just because I want to keep this video a little bit shorter with time here. But essentially all you would do is log in with either Minnie or Mickey. You would, let's say we go with Minnie, we would copy and paste that My Keys document that she had created, enter the password, or we would save that document in Minnie's folder unencrypted. We would log back in with this admin profile and then open the My Keys, enter password, and then you can open the files at that point. So whoever has that file is able to open that document. But other than that, at this point, that's pretty much going to go ahead and conclude this demonstration on the EFS encryption portion. I do hope to see you at the next demonstration, and I thank you for your time again. And as always, keep learning.